What if you found out that video you watched last night of your favorite celeb, it wasn't actually them? Like, it was an AI so real you couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you think about what's real and what's not, huh?
Yeah.
Welcome to Incomplete Talks with Mohsen and Manuel. We're going to be diving into AI today. And specifically, AI versus human jobs. So who will survive?
It's really changing everything so fast. It's almost impossible to keep up with it. But, the question is what happens to our jobs? When machines can do pretty much everything a person can do, it's something we have to face head on.
Yeah. We're not talking about robots in factories anymore.
Right.
AI is after those jobs that we always thought were safe. Like customer service agents?
Yeah.
Think about those old chatbots. They were so clunky.
Right.
But now you got things like ChatGPT. And these bots can hold a real conversation. They can understand even really complicated requests.
Absolutely.
And even, sound like they have a personality.
Yeah. And when you start to look at tools like Sora that can create a whole video with almost no human input, then you really have to start thinking what's going to happen to animators, to video editors, even filmmakers. It's not even just about efficiency, though, is it?
Right.
I mean, you've got AI tools like Midjourney that are creating art so real that it's making people debate whether it's even human creativity or not.
It feels like the whole job market is changing.
Absolutely.
Some experts say that AI is going to destroy more jobs than it creates.
Right.
Which is a scary thought, right?
Mm.
Mass unemployment.
Yeah.
Others say, well, no, it's going to help us do our jobs better.
Yeah.
And it's going to free us up to do more fulfilling work.
Right.
Leading to new jobs we can't even imagine right now.
So it's a very complex situation, I think, with strong opinions on both sides.
Yeah.
And the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, some jobs are going to go away for sure. And some are going to totally transform. And some brand new ones will appear. I think the real question is, how do we adapt to all this?
How do people stay ahead of the game in this world that's changing so fast?
Yeah.
Where the lines between, human and machine are getting more blurry every day.
Well, I think the first thing is don't panic.
Okay.
AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. So instead of being afraid of it, focus on the things that make us human.
Yeah.
Our creativity, our critical thinking, our problem-solving skills and our emotional intelligence, all the things that AI can't do.
So it's not about becoming an AI expert overnight.
No.
But it's more about just adapting.
Right.
Learning how to live in this new world.
Yeah.
Lifelong learning is going to be so important now. We have to be okay with constantly learning new things and adapting to new technologies, maybe even reinventing ourselves.
The jobs of the future are going to be so dynamic and unpredictable, you're not going to be able to use the same skills for your whole career like you used to. You have to be agile and adaptable and always be willing to learn new things.
Yeah. And it's not just those, blue-collar jobs either.
Right.
AI is coming for white-collar jobs too.
Yeah.
We're seeing AI writing up legal documents and analyzing financial data.
Absolutely.
And even composing music.
And you're right. It's going to affect all industries.
Right.
And create new opportunities that we can't even imagine yet. Think about lawyers. AI could help them research all the case law so they wouldn't have to spend hours and hours doing it.
Right.
That would free them up to focus on their strategy and talk to their clients more.
Let's talk about some real-world examples of how AI is already replacing jobs.
Okay.
We've talked about those chatbots getting more sophisticated and taking over customer service roles.
Right.
But what about other fields?
Well, we mentioned actors, right?
Yeah.
And how AI-generated virtual actors are starting to be a thing. And it's not just background characters anymore either. I mean, we're starting to see them taking on lead roles and even recreating actors who've passed away for new projects.
Wow.
It's going to have a huge impact on the film and entertainment industries.
Yeah. And it's not just acting.
Right.
AI can write news articles and marketing copy.
Absolutely.
So what's that going to do to journalism and advertising?
Yeah.
And then you've got the art world where AI is creating images that are so real.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell if it was made by a human or a machine.
And then that brings up a whole host of other questions about copyright and ownership.
Right.
Like if AI makes a piece of art, who owns the rights to it?
Right.
These are tough legal and ethical questions that are being debated right now.
It seems like the more we learn about AI, the more questions we have.
Absolutely.
It's moving so fast, it's almost impossible to predict what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
But we have to start preparing now.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on how we can make sure that AI is used ethically and responsibly?
I think education is the most important thing.
Okay.
We have to teach people about both the good and the bad, the potential benefits and the risks of AI and how to use it ethically. And this isn't just a tech problem.
Right.
It's a societal and economic and even a philosophical issue.
Right.
We all need to be part of this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. The choices we make today about AI are going to determine what the world looks like tomorrow. It's about using AI for good, but also being aware of its limitations and the possible pitfalls. So let's move on and talk about the good side of AI.
Okay.
Because it's not all doom and gloom, is it?
No, not at all. There's some amazing stuff happening because of AI. Like it's helping to develop new medical treatments, create more sustainable energy, and even helping us understand the universe better.
It's really remarkable. I just read about how AI is being used to develop personalized cancer treatments by analyzing tons of data to figure out which treatments are most likely to work for each patient.
And in renewable energy, it's helping optimize solar and wind power, so clean energy is cheaper and more efficient. It's inspiring to see how AI can tackle some of the biggest problems in the world.
But as we were talking about before, it's super important to be careful.
Yes.
We need to make sure AI is developed and used in a way that benefits all of us.
Exactly. We have to think about the ethical implications of AI and work toward a future where it helps people and makes the world a fairer place.
So as we finish up this part of our discussion, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, don't be afraid of AI. Think of it as a tool, but use it carefully and thoughtfully.
And be proactive. Start learning about AI, develop new skills, and think about how it could affect your life and your work. The future of AI is still being written, and we all have a part in shaping it.
Absolutely. It's funny, isn't it? We've got this amazing tool that could solve so many problems, but everyone's scared it's going to take away their jobs.
It's a weird situation for sure. I think people are so scared of AI taking over their jobs that they aren't seeing the good things it could do.
Right.
We've seen this happen before, though.
Right.
Whenever there's big technological advancement.
Oh, absolutely. Think about the printing press.
Right.
Or the Industrial Revolution. Everybody was afraid they were going to lose their jobs.
Right.
But in the end, those innovations created all kinds of new industries and jobs, and a lot of people's lives actually got better. The key is to learn from the past and be ready to adapt to these changes.
You talked about adapting before. Can we go into a little more detail on that? Like, what specific skills should people focus on to stay competitive in this job market that's changing all the time?
Well, we already talked about critical thinking and creativity.
Right.
But you also need to be able to work with AI. Yeah. You know, you have to understand how these systems work, what they're good at and what they're not good at. We need to think of AI as a partner that can help us do our jobs better.
Right.
Not as something that's going to replace us completely.
So it's almost like learning a new language.
Kind of.
Like the language of AI, all those algorithms and data analysis.
Exactly.
But it's not all about technical skills either.
Yeah.
Those things that make us human, like empathy and emotional intelligence, those are going to be even more important now that everything's becoming so automated.
That's exactly right. AI can crunch numbers and make predictions, but it doesn't really get human emotions.
Yeah.
Or how to navigate those complicated social interactions that we have. Those are the skills that people are going to need in fields like healthcare and education and even business management.
Let's go back to that idea of jobs being displaced versus transformed. What are some of the jobs you think are going to be affected the most by AI, and how will they change?
We'll take coding, for example. AI is already being used to write simple code.
Really?
So that could impact those entry-level coding jobs. But you know what? It also gives coders a chance to move up and do more complex work, like designing software architecture and algorithms where you still need human creativity and problem solving.
So instead of being afraid of AI coders, could use these tools to be more efficient and do higher-level tasks.
Exactly.
It's all about looking at AI as a partner.
Right.
Instead of someone who's trying to take your job.
Exactly.
What about other areas like customer service?
Yeah.
We talked about chatbots, but do you think there will ever be a time when there are no human customer service agents?
I think that's unlikely. I mean, AI can handle those basic questions, but there are always going to be those really complicated problems and those situations where people are upset and just want to talk to a real person.
Right.
Customer service agents will probably end up focusing more on building relationships and problem solving and offering that personalized support that AI just can't provide.
It's like shifting from those just basic transactions to interactions that are more focused on the human connection.
Exactly.
And Speaking of human-centered stuff, what about creative fields like art and music?
Right.
AI is already making incredibly realistic images and composing music that sounds just like something a person would create. Does that mean artists and musicians are out of a job?
I don't think so. I think it just means that what it means to be an artist or a musician is changing. AI can actually be a really cool tool for getting inspired and trying new things.
Right.
It can push the boundaries of creativity and open up whole new possibilities.
So instead of replacing artists, AI could actually become a partner that helps them come up with new ideas.
Absolutely.
And expand their creative vision.
Yeah. Think about an artist using AI to generate different versions of the same theme.
Yeah.
Or a musician using it to create totally unique sounds. It's all about using these tools to boost human creativity, not get rid of it. And let's not forget about the human element that goes into art, the emotions and the stories and the cultural context that people bring to their work.
Yeah.
AI can't do that.
You make a good point. Even if AI can create something that's technically perfect.
Right. There's still that human essence, that spark of creativity and emotional depth that people connect with. It's like the difference between something that's technically amazing and something that actually makes you feel something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where the real value is. AI can be a tool or a partner.
Yeah.
But it's the human element, that spark of creativity and the ability to connect with people emotionally, that's really going to define the future of creative fields.
We've been talking about how AI might affect specific jobs, but let's step back and look at the big picture.
Okay.
If AI does end up automating a lot of jobs, what's that going to do to our economy?
Right.
What about our sense of purpose and who we are?
Those are big questions, and there aren't any easy answers. We might need to rethink how we look at work and income. Some experts say we should have universal basic income to deal with all the unemployment.
Right.
And others say we need to focus on retraining people
Right.
and teaching them new skills so they're prepared for different types of jobs. It seems like we're at a point where we need to not only figure out how to adapt to all this new technology, but also maybe change our societal structures and safety nets.
Yeah.
It's a really big conversation that goes way beyond just the technical stuff.
You're right. It's about our values and what's important to us.
Yeah.
And what we want the future of work and society to look like. Do we want AI to only benefit a few people, or do we want to create a world that's fair, where everyone has a chance to succeed in this new world?
Those are really big questions, and they're questions we need to be asking ourselves right now.
Yes.
Not later on when all these changes are even bigger.
Right.
This isn't just about technology.
Yeah.
It's about who we are as humans and how we want to shape the future.
I agree. The future of AI isn't set in stone.
Right.
We're all creating it together, and the choices we make today are going to have a big impact.
You know, it's interesting how movies always show AI as this big, scary thing.
Right.
Like it's going to become self-aware and take over the world.
Right.
But in reality, it's still us humans creating and programming it, right?
That's a really important point. AI is basically a reflection of us, our values, our biases even. If we want AI to be a good thing, we need to look at ourselves first.
It's like that saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
If we train AI with bad data, we're going to get bad results. So it's up to us to make sure that the data we use is good data. You know, it has to be diverse and representative and not have any harmful biases in it.
Absolutely. And we also need to be aware of those unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Even when our intentions are good, things can happen that we didn't expect or that could have a negative impact down the line.
Like those deepfakes. That technology is getting so good that it's almost impossible to tell if a video is real or fake.
Right.
And that's a big deal because it could be used to spread misinformation.
Absolutely.
And manipulate people.
Yeah, that's a valid concern for sure. And it shows just how important it is to be media literate and to think critically in this digital world.
Right.
We need to be able to spot fake news, especially online.
It's also important to remember that AI is still pretty new.
Yes, it is.
We're just starting to understand what it can do.
Right.
And there's so much we still don't know about its limits.
Absolutely.
And what its impact will be in the long run.
It's important not to get caught up in the hype.
Right.
Or buy into all that fear-mongering. AI isn't some magic solution to all our problems.
Yeah.
And it's not some big threat to humanity either.
It's a tool.
It is a powerful tool that can be used for good or bad, and it's up to us to make sure it's used responsibly.
Which brings us back to that question of who will survive in this age of AI.
Right.
I think it's less about humans fighting against machines and more about humans and machines working together.
I agree.
It's all about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Using AI for what it's good at.
Yeah.
But also preserving and developing those uniquely human things like creativity and empathy.
Yes.
And critical thinking and the ability to connect with each other on a real level.
Exactly. We're going to need to be adaptable and resilient. And we have to be open to change and be willing to keep learning new things throughout our lives. The future is uncertain, but the people who are willing to adapt and evolve are the ones who are going to shape it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into AI and how it's going to affect the future of work, what's the one big thing you want our listeners to remember?
Don't be afraid of AI. See it as a tool, but use it thoughtfully and be critical.
All right.
Don't be afraid to learn new things, experiment a bit, and get involved in the conversation about the ethics of it all. The future of AI isn't something that's just happening to us. It's something we're all creating together.
We covered a lot today, from jobs disappearing to all the exciting new possibilities AI brings in fields like healthcare and renewable energy and even art. But this is just the beginning of the conversation.
It is.
We hope you'll keep learning, keep asking questions,
and
keep imagining what the future could be. Because the future of AI is in our hands.
It is.
And on that note, we'll leave you with one final thought. If AI can make art that's just as good as something a human could make, does it even matter who made it? What does it even mean to be human in a world where it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference between human creativity and machine creativity?
It's something to think about, talk about it with each other, and most importantly, be a part of shaping what AI becomes. Thanks for joining us on Incomplete Talks with Mohsin and Manuel. Until next time, keep exploring.